Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. Today I will be talking about the Two of Cups. If you have a look at this card, you can immediately see that everything is flowing here. It's very harmonious. We have these beautiful pastel colors here. They're very soft and they join together really nicely. So we can say that the card has this feeling of softness, of everything being in its right place and everything like merging together in this beautiful harmonious way. We will start as usual with the quote from the book of Thoth, and this will help us to explore the beautiful symbolism of this card. The two always represents the word and the will. It is the first manifestation. Therefore, in the suit of water, it must refer to love, which recovers unity from individuality by mutual annihilation. To understand this quote, we need to have a look at where we are on the Tree of Life. So we are now here in Chokmah. This is the second Sephirah, and Chokmah means wisdom. So the pure energy of Keter flows into Chokmah, and this is the first limitation that this limitless energy of Keter that is everywhere gets. So in Chokmah, the energy gets the limitation of space. So we can say that it gets a direction in which it travels. And this means that we are in the suit of cups, so we are in the element of water, and this is connected to intuition, to emotion. So if we think about it, like if pure emotion starts to flow through space, this is manifested as love. We see here that love is the purest and highest of all emotion, and we very often say that God is love, and that this is the same idea, that love is the most important, and out of love everything else should flow. And if we have another look at the Tree of Life, we are in the supernal triangle. So this energy is still very pure and very clean before it starts descending down the Tree of Life, where things usually get a bit more complicated. But we are only in the second Sephirah. So this pure, all-encompassing love of Keter, once it flows down into Chokmah, it gets a direction. So it starts to be directed at someone or something, and this is what we see here in this card. Crowley mentions here that love recovers unity from individuality. So it is not like two people decide to join together, it's actually the opposite. So they just discover that they were never separate, and this is love. Discovering that we are all one and we are never separated. So we don't have to join, we don't have to come together, we just have to realize that we were always one. So we have 5 streams of water here and 5 in the other cup. And 5, of course, is the number of Gevurah. So this is our destruction. This is how it's shown here in this card. But because we have the same on both sides, the two 5s create 10. So they create the number of completeness, the number of Malkut. And this is why, even though underneath all of this there is this mutual annihilation, we do not experience it as chaos. We experience this as perfect harmony, because the destruction only appears to show us that underneath it's all one, underneath it is all love. And 5, of course, is not only the number of destruction, this would be really reducing it to a very simple concept. 5 is a very active number, so there is like an active harmony within it. We have 5 senses that help us to navigate the world, and we have the pentagram, which shows, I think, in the best way the energy of number 5. So the pentagram shows us the four elements and then spirit that rules them all. And if we look at the pentagram, we can see that all of those elements are in constant motion. So they are constantly interacting with each other. This is a very active symbol. And the energy of 5 is only really starting to be destructive when we want to stay in one place, because it wants to constantly move and change and transform. And if you are trying to hold on to it and stop it, then the destruction must happen. So anything that is solid with 5 needs to transform and needs to move, needs to be destroyed. Number 5 is also connected with the hierophant. So this is the 5th card of the major arcana, and we can see he has a pentagram on his chest here. The meaning of this card is following tradition, following the established rules, the established order, and this card is also connected to the institution of marriage, which is very suitable here since we are talking about love. And you might think that this is contradictory to what I've been telling you about number 5, that he might be connected with rules and established order. We have to remember that Hierophant is also the teacher and he's a student. So this is where the dynamic of the number 5 comes into play, because we can have the established order or we can have some mysteries, but we make them active through teaching and learning. So this is where the energy starts to flow, and we are not only in one place, we are constantly changing, because by teaching others, we also learn something. So this is where the very dynamic number 5 works within a more stable 6, because we can see the hexagram here on this card as well. So I will tell you more about Hierophant when we get to this card, but for now we only need to really know for our Two of Cups that Hierophant and his path on the Tree of Life is here between Chokmah and Hesed. So you can see if we have this beautiful love here in Chokmah, Hesed is this stability. This is the law. So if we travel between love and the law, we get marriage here. So we see here that the idea of marriage originally is for the law to protect the love between the two people. Of course, in real life, it's not always like this, but this is the ideal that we can strive towards. Let's listen to another quote from the book of Thoth now. The number 2, referring to will. This card might really be renamed the Lord of Love under Will, for that is its full and true meaning. It shows the harmony of the male and the female, interpreted in the largest sense. It is perfect and placid harmony, radiating an intensity of joy and ecstasy. Crowley mentions here that we have the harmony of male and female, but we don't see any human figures in this card, so we don't really know which one of those energies is male or female, because it doesn't matter. The cups are the same, the dolphins are the same, and the lotuses are the same. So at this level of love, we interpret male and female in this largest sense. So we see here that underneath everything is love, and there are no divisions. So there is no duality here. Let's have a look where we are now on the decan wheel. We are in the sign of Cancer, and the first decan of Cancer is Venus in Cancer. So the time frame for this decan is from the 21st of June until the 1st of July. We can also see here that the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon, but Jupiter is exalted here. And Venus is actually doing very well in the sign of Cancer as well, although she is not assigned to this sign in any way. But all of the planetary assignments here are working together very harmoniously. Let's also see what Crowley says in the Book of Thoth about this. The card also refers to Venus in Cancer. Cancer is, more than any other, the receptive sign. It is the house of the moon, and in that sign Jupiter is exalted. These are, superficially, the three most friendly of the planets. So if you know a bit about astrology, you know what he means by saying the most friendly of the planets. Jupiter and Venus are considered benefic planets in astrology, so they are very friendly to us, let's say. They are working in our favor more often. Moon is also very beneficial. So we have all of those really harmonious and really friendly influences in this card. Crowley says here that the sign of Cancer is more than any other the receptive sign. Cancer is also very emotional. It's a very protective, sentimental, and like really nurturing sign. It just wants to make you feel safe and comfortable. So you can see how this works very well here with the energy of Venus, because Venus is bringing us here the topics of relationships, happiness, pleasure, and you can see how it all creates this really wonderful atmosphere. So let's have a look at the colors in this card now. So we have this beautiful blue sky here, and this blue color is connected with Hesed and planet Jupiter. We have some influence of Tiferet and the sun in this lovely yellow color here. And the sun is not mentioned here in any of the planetary assignments, but because this card is so harmonious, there needs to be some influence of Tiferet here. And we will see in a moment how Tiferet is present here, even though the sun is not directly associated with this card. But there is some explanation of this influence. We also have in the bottom this lovely green color, and this is of course the color of Venus and Netzach. Let's hear another quote from the Book of Thoth that will explain us a bit more about the symbolism of the card. The hieroglyph of the card represents two cups in the foreground overflowing upon a calm sea. They are fed with lucent water from a lotus floating upon the sea, from which rises another lotus, around whose stem are entwined twin dolphins. The symbolism of the dolphin is very complicated and must be studied in books of reference, but the general idea is that of the royal art. The dolphin is peculiarly sacred to alchemy. Let's have a look at the lotus symbolism first. I said a lot about this in my previous video about the Ace of Cups, so you can have a look at that as well. But lotus in general symbolizes our intuition. So this is also our immortal part, so the part of us that we can say is our soul, is the divine part of our being. And lotus is also the flow of energy through our chakras. And if you know the way chakras are depicted, they are actually depicted as lotus flowers with different amounts of petals depending on the chakra. So this is the symbolism. It's the flow of energy through us, and it is also how we use the energy that's within us and how we realize our potential in life through the use of this energy. Let's have a look now at this term royal art that Crowley uses here, and he just really drops this term and doesn't explain what is meant, although it is alluded a bit in the next sentence where he says it's alchemy, dolphin is sacred to alchemy. So royal art can be connected with alchemy, But also, this is a term that Plato used to describe philosophy. And if you think about it, this joins in really beautifully with this card because philosophy is the love of wisdom. And here we are in the second Sephirah, Hokmah. Hokmah means wisdom, and this card is love. So we have love and wisdom here. I think it's really beautiful. And this term royal art is also used to describe Freemasonry. And I have a quote for you from the General Manual of Freemasonry. And this might explain how it is all connected. Freemasonry as an art of living can also be described as a royal art, for Freemasonry recognizes love as its highest commandment. And this commandment is called the royal, that is, the highest, most excellent. And as you know, Crowley was a member of the Golden Dawn, and Golden Dawn was established by people who were Freemasons before. So you can see how all of those societies really stem from one source, and they have the same main ideas. And of course, the ideas are constantly improved upon and they are adapted to new circumstances and new times. But we can see this common theme that is under all of them. So let's have a look now at the symbolism of those twin dolphins. So they might not look like dolphins to you, they look more like fish, and this is just the way the dolphin is depicted in heraldry. This depiction comes from the medieval times, and then people thought that dolphins were fish. So dolphins were actually seen as kings of fish, and that's why they were shown in this form with scales, looking more like a fish. So the dolphin joins the elements of water and air. They live in both of these elements and they need both of them to survive. So they are thought to combine the two. Dolphins are very compassionate. They help humans and they help animals. And in all of the cultures, dolphins are seen as very positive. They are seen as a good luck omen. Dolphin is a sacred animal to both Aphrodite and Apollo in ancient Greece. So we have another reference to Venus here because Venus really is the same as Aphrodite. In Hindu mythology, dolphins are associated with Ganga. So this is the deity of the Ganges river, and she's a goddess of purification and forgiveness. And she rides the sea creature called Makara. And Makara is sometimes depicted as a dolphin, sometimes as a crocodile as well. But there are actually dolphins living in the Ganges River, so this is how they got connected to this creature, Makara. So in Vedic astrology, Makara is equivalent to the sign of Capricorn. And this is how we can understand why the sign of Capricorn is usually depicted with like a fish tail. And I was always wondering where did it come from, but now I know this is from the sign of Makara in Vedic astrology. So in many cultures, dolphins are said to carry the souls into the afterlife, and therefore they are associated with transformation. Because in the same way as people observed dolphins helping people get to the shore, this is the same idea reversed, that the dolphins will also help the soul to get where it needs to go into the afterlife. And in Christianity, a dolphin was a symbol of Jesus, so it was also used the same as the symbol of fish for Christianity and for Jesus. And in heraldry, dolphins are connected with loyalty, truth. This is a symbol of charity, and it also means kind affection towards children. And we can see the similarity here with what the sign of Cancer means. It is also very much about taking care of others and, especially children, nurturing and creating a safe environment for everyone. So if we have a closer look at the dolphins' heads and at the fins that are here in the middle, we will see that we have 5 spikes in this fin and 4 in this one. So from this, we can say that this is the 4th sephira and this is the 5th one. And if we have a look at how the placement of the objects in this card compares with the Tree of Life, we can see that if we have Hesed and Gevurah here, below it we have Tiferet. So if you have a look, this lotus would be Tiferet. Then above we have Keter, and here the water flows into 2 cups. So from Hesed and Gevurah, it flows into Netzach and Hod. So this would be the shape. We have the 2 lotus flowers here, we have 2 dolphins, and we have 2 cups. So I told you before that I will show you where Tiferet is in this card, and this is where it is. It's in the lower lotus, and it's a lower reflection of Keter, and it makes sense they are joined by this stem. And this is creating the harmony here in this card. And you might think, why those Sephiroth? Why not all of them? Why are these specific ones represented in this card? And the reason is the royal art, so alchemy in this instance. So now we need to see what alchemical components are associated with those Sephiroth. And we will start with Gevurah. So Gevurah is sulfur. And if you know what the symbol, the glyph for sulfur is like, it's a triangle and a cross beneath. So this is the position of the emperor's body in this card. Netzach is the empress, and this is alchemical salt, and it's shown by the position of her arms here in this card. And of course we have Hod, which is Mercury, and this is the Magus card. And also his body is in the position of the glyph of Mercury. And Hesed is not one of the components. Hesed rather shows us how these components work together. And this is shown in the fortune card connected with Jupiter. So we have here sulfur, mercury, and salt. And we see how they join together and how they are creating everything in the universe. And this is why we only have those Sephiroth highlighted here by the design of this card. So this is really highlighting the idea of royal art as alchemy. Now I'm going to tell you a bit about how to interpret this card in divination. And the general meaning of this card is of course love, but this is love in its highest and most beautiful form. It's the purest idea of love. And we have this perfect balance here. We have harmony, there's pleasure. So this card will always mean something very positive. Part of the meaning of this card is a balance of masculine and feminine. And we have to understand that we are talking here about the quality of energy. It's not directly linked to anyone's gender. So every one of us has a balance of masculine and feminine energy within us. And I think when we meet someone that has a complementary balance of those two energies within them, then we feel like we belong together. But it has nothing to do really with anyone's gender. This is just a way to describe the quality of the energies that we all have. Of course, this card comes up in many different readings, and not only the ones connected with relationships or our love life. So, for example, in work-related readings, this card will mean beautiful cooperation. It can mean a merge of two companies. And very often people ask about their future job, what it's going to be like. Maybe they are just starting a new job, or maybe they're interviewing for a position and they want to know how it's gonna go. So if you see this card, then definitely the atmosphere at work is gonna be really nice. Everyone's gonna be really lovely and helpful. So it will definitely show that it's a nice company to work for. And of course, in relationship-related readings, this card will mean beautiful love, it can mean marriage, it's definitely a very harmonious and lovely relationship. In spirituality, this card will mean that we are in perfect balance, this is the right path for us, we are in the right place at the moment. If this card describes a person in your reading, then this is definitely someone that can be trusted. This is a person with really good intentions, someone who is very kind and helpful. As advice, this card invites us to cooperate with others. It tells us to see the good in other people and to really have this kind and loving approach in a certain situation. It also invites us to be open to love and to really love ourselves. If this card shows up in your reading as an obstacle, then it will mean that the kind approach will work against you in this matter. So this is an invitation to set your boundaries and really think more about yourself in this situation rather than what other people might need. And this might seem like a strange advice because, loving and kind approach should work in every circumstance. But I'm thinking here more about maybe some work-related situation or some legal matters where you can choose to cooperate with the other person, or you can choose to be really kind towards them, but they might take advantage of you if you take this approach. So if you see this card as an obstacle, it means that maybe you should set the boundaries and engage with this situation as a conflict, and this will work out better in your favor. That's it for today. Thank you so much, and please remember to like this video, and of course I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would like to thank everyone who is commenting on my videos. I really like to read your comments and I try to answer all of the questions to the best of my knowledge and ability. And your comments not only make me very happy, but they also help with YouTube algorithm. So thanks to your comments, I will be able to reach a lot more people that are interested in learning Thoth. So thank you so much for today, and we will meet in my next video about the Three of Cups very soon. Thank you, bye!